Dr. Brian Sampa is not a stranger to many Zambians. Some of you might think he's become a controversial figure, but we're going to hear it from him. Our topic for today will be his activism vis-a-vis the ban alcohol campaign. Dr. Sampa is a former president of the Resident Doctors Association of Zambia, and he prefers to call himself the hashtag ban alcohol leader. Is that right, Dr. Sampa?
For sure.
Awesome. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for affording us this opportunity to talk to you about this.
Thank you very much. I appreciate for hosting me.
Awesome. So just to provide some kind of context to the campaign you've raised, I just wanted to share with you and our viewers some studies that have been conducted regarding alcohol use or misuse in Zambia, okay? So according to Benagol, Shields, Taylor, and Palser, they said alcohol misuse is a growing issue in low and middle income countries and remains a major risk factor for mortality and disease, to which the country of Zambia is not immune. And according to the Ministry of Health, 21.7% of Zambians report drinking alcohol, and 10.9% of Zambians report engaging in heavy episode drinking, which is classified as having 6 or more standard drinks. And furthermore, harmful alcohol use and alcohol use disorders in Zambia are associated with numerous negative health and social outcomes among youths and adults, making the case for the importance to further explore context-specific determinants of alcohol use and abuse in Zambia. That sounds very familiar to you, Doc.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So, I mean, probably my first question is a no-brainer. Why have you raised this campaign?
Well, to start with, you know, we are living in a country where we have got the New Dawn government, which is bent on trying to develop the country. And we've noted with concern, when you look at the history of our country, one of the reasons why we failed to develop is because of alcohol. Alcohol alone has been a major concern because at one time, our founding father, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, even wanted to resign because of alcohol. And for sure, he had a reason because, you know, he had sent a lot of people to school so that they can come and develop Zambia. But what did they do? Nothing. All the industries had to run down and they all started queuing up, going to the government to pay them for their salaries. And Zambia has not developed. And we were worried that if we continue in this trajectory, not only are we going to fail, but we are going to make all the people who are coming to lead us seem like they are not doing anything, no matter how good their plans may be. But as long as the people are not productive, nothing was going to change.
Right. Okay, great. So recently you undertook a one-man walk from Lusaka to Kabwe. Okay. Why that specific route? Did you think that the message would carry more weight if you staged some kind of lone protest?
Yeah, so, you know, when I looked at the way we've been doing our public health sensitization, it hasn't been effective. So if I was to just go on media and talk about things, nothing was going to change. But to show the importance and how an emergency it is right now, the issue of alcohol in our country, I had to do something extraordinary, which was going to catch the attention of the people. And for sure, the message now has gone all over the country, and we have recruited a lot of people who are now members of the ban alcohol movement, and we are just waiting to fill all the signatures so that we can now petition our sober president so that he can act on our demands.
Okay, great. So share with the viewers and Zambians at large what it is that you want to see accomplished with your campaign.
Well, this is what we want. First, we want alcohol to be banned completely in Zambia. There should be no production, importation, or export of alcohol in our country. It should be the way it is with marijuana, where if somebody is found with marijuana, they are arrested. Then what we are looking forward to is a reduction in all the things which are attached to alcohol. One of them is HIV. You know, as we are moving towards achieving zero new HIV infections, we cannot talk about it without first talking about alcohol. Alcohol is the major transporter of HIV. What happens is that when these people get drunk in these clubs, they end up engaging in unprotected sex and all those other risk behaviors. One of them is careless driving, which has costed a lot of lives. We have a lot of road traffic accidents which are attributed to alcohol. Not only that, we've got a rising number of GBV cases, which is gender-based violence. And all those, when you look at them, they are attributed to alcohol. Aside from that, we've got cases of rape and cases of defilement. Just last week, we had a case in Chongwe where one of the ladies was actually gang raped. The person was gang raped by people who were drunk, and she was also drunk. They were coming from a club. As if it's not enough, the divorces. Last year, we had more than 20,000 divorces. And when you look at all these divorces, the majority of them were attributed to alcohol. We've got liver disease. We've got a rise in the number of non-communicable diseases. We are talking about cancer. We are talking about renal disease. We are talking about liver disease. We are talking about all these other problems like hypertension, diabetes, and all these, alcohol can cause them alone. So when we ban alcohol, all these things are going to go down. We've got an example. The United States of America at one time banned alcohol.
Doc, sorry, let me stop you right there. You've mentioned a lot of issues, problems alcohol causes. One of the things I'm sure viewers will appreciate in Zambia is statistical causation. Can you give us statistics to say because of alcohol, there's an increase of HIV/AIDS cases? Because of alcohol, there's an increase in road traffic accidents. Because of alcohol, there's an increase in cardiovascular diseases. Can you give us statistics?
Yes. So because of alcohol, when you look at our HIV cases in Zambia, we are standing at more than 11.1%. That is our HIV prevalence rate. And that 11.1% is an underestimation, because when you look at Zambia, most of the people who test are those who go to the hospital, maybe when they are very sick. Most of the people up to now don't know their HIV status. So it may even be higher. If you try to compare with countries within Africa where alcohol is not allowed, for instance, Sudan, Somalia, their HIV rates are less than 5%. And they are not even in the top 10 of the countries which are affected by HIV. If we go to other countries outside Africa, for instance, Saudi Arabia, there it's even 0.01% of the population. So HIV alone, if you look at what we are doing in Zambia, we are actually spending billions of kwacha to try and deal with the problems that are coming with alcohol. That is not all. Just last week alone, we've got a lot of practical examples. Last week, there were 4 police officers who ended up killing an innocent young man because this person went to get alcohol where they were drinking. And these people, right now, they are incarcerated. Mm-hmm. Without them drinking alcohol that day, they would have been working as good police officers. And make no mistake, those are not bad people. These are officers who've been saving our nation for more than 10, 15 years. But because of alcohol and its effects on their bodies, that's how come they overreacted and they ended up killing somebody.
Okay. At this point, Doc, I was looking for statistics, which you haven't provided. So at this point, I'm thinking you are blaming alcohol for many personal behaviors or misbehaviors, don't you think? And the reason I ask that, Doc, is with I'm an individual who appreciates data, statistics. I always sing that song, right? We would be able to make factual determinations if there were numbers, okay? Say there's a road traffic accident. The responding officers document that RTA as being caused by an impaired driver. And we keep doing that and maintain a database. Then we'd be able quarterly, semi-annual or annually to say road traffic accidents caused by alcohol, this many. HIV cases caused by alcohol, this many. You see that? I know this is a lot of work. It takes a lot of investment, but I get the general idea that yes, because of the impaired nature of the mind by somebody who has taken alcohol, yes, we can lay blame on it. So let's talk about your campaign. So you're calling for the total ban of alcohol in Zambia. Now, before I let you respond to that, the beer market in Zambia was equal to $240 million, and this is calculated in retail prices, and this was in 2015. Until 2025, the beer market in Zambia is forecast, 2025 to reach $723 million, thus increasing the compound annual growth rate, right? We know alcohol industries, former alcohol industry like Zambian breweries, for example, provide jobs to our people. If alcohol is banned, what does that do to a nation grappling with unemployment?
So let me give you the statistics you've been asking for. You know, in Zambia, as of last year, the statistics were showing that the Zambia breweries plus the other industries which are involved in alcohol were contributing about 1.6 billion kwacha annually when it came to the GDP. Mm-hmm. Now, that was in terms of tax. In terms of the people they have employed only 80,000 people countrywide. Mm-hmm. So when you look at those people, in Zambia, the number of people who drink alcohol were estimated to be 4.5 million people from the population of 18 million people. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the numbers of people who drink alcohol and the numbers who benefit from the sale of alcohol, the people who are benefiting are in thousands, only 80,000. But the people who are directly affected by alcohol, they are in millions. Mm-hmm. When you go to the hospitals today, what you are going to find is that 80% of the non-communicable diseases are actually attached to alcohol. And these non-communicable diseases, last year alone, the government spent 14.1 billion to deal with non-communicable diseases. For argument's sake, because the way the statistics were done, they did not differentiate categorically which ones were just direct from alcohol and which were just from other causes. Right. For argument's sake, let's even put it at 10% of that amount. We still find that the 1.6 billion cannot be compared even to the 3 billion which is being spent by the government. And remember, there is also an issue of human resource loss. As we are talking, a lot of people have lost jobs because of alcohol. As though that's not enough, when you look at what alcohol does to the individuals themselves, just recently, we took a survey, and that survey, which was done by CHAZ, which is Churches Health Association of Zambia, what they found was that 80% of mental health cases in Zambia were because of alcohol. So alcohol is a very big problem. That 1.6 billion being contributed cannot amount to how much the government is spending, which is in excess of 14 billion. So we cannot compare the advantages to the disadvantages of alcohol. One thing we need to appreciate is that in life, we can't have something which is just entirely bad. There will always be somebody who will be benefiting from it. And as a result, even in this case where there is alcohol, someone is benefiting, but you just compare the advantages, the pros and cons. Mm-hmm. If the advantages are more, you continue. If the disadvantages are more, like in this case, then it has to be banned.
Great. Thank you, Doc. So your ban on alcohol, we know that there are different types of alcohol out there, right? There are lagers, there are the whiskeys, the rums, and things like that. There's also illicit brews. Do we know which type of alcohol is contributing to misuse or abuse and creating all these health scares?
So for us, we just don't do things without research. You know, there is a research which was published in the Lancet, which is a medical journal. It was published a week ago, actually. And this research informed us accordingly. In this research, the report was that the only amount of alcohol which can be consumed by a human body who is somebody who is below 40, it should just be 2 teaspoons. That is the only amount of alcohol which can't bring any effects. Then for those who are above 40, they said they could take something little, but even then the chances of developing these diseases which are attributed to alcohol was high. So now when you look at that research actually debunked the other researches which were done in the past, which were saying you can take a glass of wine and then it can reduce certain diseases, because this one says when they did the research, they found that even people who took just a glass of wine had the same chances of developing the same diseases as other people who were taking more. So we need to know that alcohol has got nothing good that comes from it. And as a result, for us, our job is to do no harm. Remember, being a medical doctor, one of the first things we learn are the 4 principles: non-maleficence, beneficence, autonomy, and we also need to learn about confidentiality. Now, the most important 2 are these ones I said: the maleficence, non-maleficence, and beneficence. Non-maleficence, I'm not supposed to do any harm. Then beneficence, I'm supposed to always benefit my patient. I understand as a doctor from my practice that most of the patients I've seen, others have contracted diseases because of the use of alcohol. And these are not people who were drunk, no. Because actually, somebody who is abusing alcohol may not even have the energy to even perform certain things. Somebody who is very drunk may just end up sleeping. But somebody who is just tipsy, someone who is saying, I've controlled myself, is actually more in danger, because they have just broken their barriers and their principles. They will be able to engage in all risky behaviors. Those are the people who end up having unprotected sex and driving carelessly.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. I like the point that one of our viewers has brought up. I think it's Joe Burke. So what he's saying is that, which I agree with, a total ban is not possible, right? So where do we start from, Doc? What compromise would an activist like yourself accept about alcohol? We can't ban it completely, but where do we start from? Maybe a reduction in production, maybe heavier regulation in terms of how long bars are left open, maybe restricting the age at which individuals can drink, and enforcing especially on the age restriction. Because I know, for instance, today I can send my 10-year-old niece to go and buy me 6 bottles of beer, and they're going to sell to this child. They don't even know if this child is consuming that alcohol. You see that? All the child will say is, oh, my uncle sent me to buy the beer. So what kind of measures can we start with and then ease into the banning, if possible?
Well, for us, I think I'll be very categorical here. For us, there is no compromise. The reason is simple. For so many years, we've been preaching the word reduce alcohol consumption. Now, is it practical? The answer is no. Remember, when somebody starts taking alcohol, it is the intoxication which they enjoy. So by the time somebody starts saying, now I have enough, it means they are already feeling the effects of alcohol. And those are the effects which scientists are saying will bring effects to the body which may be bad. Now, we need to remember that these people who are drinking, whether young or old, if we say let's restrict the age, the question is it okay because somebody is above 18 to die? Or is it bad only because someone is below 18, so when they die, it's bad? The answer is no. Actually, those elderly people will be dying. They will be leaving orphans, which is also a burden on the economy, because who is going to take care of those orphans? So for us, we are looking at both the children and the elderly. And remember, if we allow the adults to be drinking, those children will grow up knowing that drinking is okay. So we are still preparing those children to be drunkards when they grow up. So we can't say people should be drinking. And we can only talk about drinking if we know that it's bringing something good. For us, our job is anything that is harmful to health, we are supposed to warn the people. And when we've got the power, we are supposed to stop it. That's the more reason why, even in our country, it's not allowed to smoke marijuana. because the government obviously understands the repercussions. So even with alcohol, once all these repercussions are brought to light, which we are happy with, because the president is an example of sober people, and we can see the fruits. He's a very successful man. You look at him, he's a man of one wife. He doesn't have children all over. He is not somebody who has a bad standing in society. And those are some of the advantages. He's a productive man, and we want that picture to translate into a nationwide picture. And that's the only way we are going to develop Zambia. I can assure you, no matter the good intention the president has, as long as we are still grappled with this problem of alcohol, even this CDF and other initiatives won't work.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. So in your campaign, before you undertook the one-man walk, did you engage any government officials to take
Okay,
this
so this
campaign,
is our
take this campaign to their offices?
So this is our roadmap. The first thing was that we had divided it. It was 100%. Our 100% will be banning alcohol. Now, the 50% was about sensitizing the people so that people understand that, yes, alcohol is bad. Then the 25% was for people to accept, to say it's an emergency and something has to be done. So I can assure you that right now we've reached the 75% because people have agreed that, yes, we have a problem of alcohol in Zambia and something must be done. But where we are now is for people to accept that what should be done is banning alcohol. Where we are, some people are still thinking we can still just talk to people so that they try to reduce. So that's the 25%. And it's good that the youths have come on board. I'm sure you may be aware, or I may just report to you now that we've got people, representatives, coordinators, the entire country. And this campaign is being done without any funding, no money involved. People are just trying to come on board and saying, no, we want to be part of this. We want to make sure we fight this because people have seen the effects of alcohol in their homes. Others are joining. Like there is a particular example which I would give where somebody said, I'm joining this campaign because without alcohol, my father would be alive today. And without alcohol, my father and mother wouldn't have divorced when I was 1 year old. So you see, people are joining because of the effects, the ill effects of alcohol. And you find that even the same people who sell alcohol, some of them don't even drink, and they don't even allow their children to drink because they do understand that, yes, alcohol is bad. So why should we then continue entertaining it?
Oh, great. So you being a doctor, you obviously have colleagues that would express a different opinion. Have you heard from them, during and after your walk? What was their feedback to you?
The funny thing is that when I did the walk, a lot of people thought maybe I had gone mad. They were thinking, because, what I was doing is something which they never thought would happen. And when people look at alcohol, it's the most widely acceptable drug. So some people have even forgotten that alcohol is a drug. They actually think it's just a drink. It's a social thing. Mm-hmm. But actually, alcohol is a drug. People have now come to realize that, yes, what I've been saying is true. In fact, people are always tagging me whenever they see any problem which is relating to alcohol that, yes, Dr. Sampa, you were right. This is what you've been talking about. And I've got a number of doctors now who've come on board and said, Doc, what you are doing is the best, and we are joining hands with you. Of course, we have a few who drink, and those who drink, of course, for them it's the embarrassment, and they may have other personal reasons why they wouldn't want to join. But that's expected in society. We don't expect 100% support, but what we need is just to ensure that at least a good number of people understand. And once those people understand, even as we take the route of the petition, at least we will know that there will be a substantial number of people who are going to support it.
Okay, great. So what's the next plan? Do you intend to go and petition the president or parliament? Where do you want to take, your next step?
We've got the best person in State House now. So our job is actually to make sure after we get the needed signatures and we do a write-up, our date is actually set 30th November. By 30th November, that's the day for banning of alcohol in Zambia. That's when we are doing the countrywide petition. So between now and 30th November, We are going to do a lot of sensitization. There will be a lot of activity to make sure that the entire country knows, and everyone should be on board to support this motion.
So, Doc, 30th November is quite an aggressive timeline, and we know things like this take a long time actually to absorb, right? Sensitizing people in a space of 90 days will not cut it, Doc. Why are you being hasty about it? I know the urgency of banning alcohol, but why are you being hasty about it?
We are in a hurry because look, already where we are today, if you look at what this government has tried to do and the plans they have, you will see that most of these plans are good. These are the same plans which even KK had when he started. But why did they fail? Because of alcohol. If this is repeated again, the economic plans may not work because of alcohol. And we also know that every minute and second that passes, people are dying. And as people are dying, for us, it's an emergency. Me, when I look at a disease, every second counts. So as a doctor, when I look at it from that angle, even that 30th November, it had to take some people to say, look, let's give ourselves 4 months in which we can actually campaign more and let people know. But we would have loved it to be done like yesterday because people have died and people are still dying. Just today, I experienced something when I was in town. Somebody was drunk and he slept behind a car. So when someone was reversing, he did not see him and he crushed his leg. So you think all those things can be avoided. And these are poor people who are not even going to manage, if at all there will be any need to pay once they are taken to those expensive hospitals. So we can't continue letting people suffer and die. It's an emergency and we are treating it as such.
Great. Doc, you've raised a very noble campaign, and I'm in support of it. Actually, at this point, I'm not sure that a total ban is a solution, right? And you taking your campaign to the government is going to meet political pushback. Why? Because alcohol, like street vending, are hot political issues. If the new Dawn government accedes to that campaign, they ban alcohol. That is loss of industries. Don't you think they are also looking at a loss of political support, given that a majority of Zambians are drinking? Do you think you are approaching the right people in government? Or by approaching government, do you think government is the right institution, for lack of a better term, to fight this ban with you?
You know, when I remember what you said only 21.8% people who were reported to be drinking alcohol in Zambia. Now, Zambia has got 100%. Now, if you just remove 21.8%, obviously more than 78% of the people don't take alcohol. So, meaning that if we can manage to get signatures from the majority, then that's okay. Remember that most of these politicians, they are misinformed. They think that the majority of Zambians drink. That's the reason why they always side with clubs and bars. No wonder last year when they were closing during the COVID-19 closure, they actually opened the bars and closed churches. The previous government. They forgot that actually there were more people in churches than in bars. So it's very easy to handle this because the majority of Zambians don't actually drink. It's just that alcohol is one of the drugs actually which has got more than 60% of its effects are on the third parties. That's why we see it seems as if a lot of people drink because the effects or the impact of one person who is taking alcohol is more on the other people surrounding them than themselves. Otherwise, more of the Zambians don't drink alcohol. Just a few Zambians drink. So it will be an easy thing to achieve actually.
Okay. Most viewers agree, Doc. It's an awesome campaign. You're obviously going to have those that don't, agree with you. Like I told you, I like the campaign, but I'm a realist. Okay, I'm thinking instead of a total ban, government can do things like increase tax on alcohol, so it becomes less affordable. Something like that. You see that? Control or legislate underage drinking, right? Enforce underage drinking, no underage drinking. Enforce, operability of bars, nightclubs, and things like that, Doc. Don't you think?
Well, to start with, we can't tell the government that just increase the prices. You know what will happen? Because alcohol has been, actually, the recent researchers are showing that alcohol is also addictive. So it's no longer just about being dependent. So now, when somebody is addicted to something, they can do anything to get that drug. So what we will do, we are just going to increase the crime in our country because people will be killing to get alcohol. Even if it became 1 million kwacha per bottle, those who are addicted, they would rather steal or kill just to get alcohol. So the best is to make it very difficult for people to have it. And that's how it has been done in the past. Look at the drugs which are banned in Zambia. For instance, marijuana. Nobody talks about marijuana abuse. Everyone talks about use of marijuana because you can't abuse something which is not readily available. So even when alcohol is not readily available, we'll stop talking about abuse. In fact, even those who would want to abuse it, they will find it very difficult because they will have to move distances outside the country to go and access it. And that's one way we are going to help our people. There are people who would want to stop alcohol, but what happens is they always relapse because of the proximity to the bars and the proximity to the clubs. As we speak, the clubs are just near churches, they are inside boarding houses, they are inside schools, they are inside colleges and universities. So it's very difficult for people to actually abstain from alcohol. But if we make it there, it will be very easy.
Great. Doc, alcohol and cigarettes have been sold in Zambia since time immemorial. But why the focus just on alcohol? Are you ignoring the effects of cigarette smoking?
Well, when you look at cigarette smoking, it's the number one cause of, lung cancer. However, lung cancer is just one of the 4 killers in this world. The 3 killers are caused by alcohol. So when you look at alcohol alone, last year alone, it killed more than 3.3 million people. And that is alcohol alone. So it was actually found that alcohol alone is the number 1 killer in the world. If we take out alcohol, we are going to cut out on so many things. When you compare alcohol to cigarette smoking affects mostly the individuals who are smoking or those who are exposed to the smoke by way of passive smoking. It doesn't really have much effect on the third parties. But with alcohol, one example is, me, I can take alcohol right now, I go driving, then I cause an accident, maybe it's a bus, it has got 60 people, 60 people will die because of me who is drunk.
Right.
Maybe I get drunk, I have unprotected sex, I get HIV, I'll take it to my family and infect my wife. All that will bring problems at home. Because of alcohol, I can come back, cause trouble, fight, kill my wife, and then my children will remain without a wife. Tomorrow, I can go be arrested, I'm taken to police, and then I'm jailed, my family will suffer. So alcohol has got a lot of third-party effects than smoking. So smoking actually for us is a very simple job which doesn't require this much of effort. So once we are done with alcohol, smoking will be the easiest thing we'll do next.
Okay, great. Doc, recently, Zambian breweries announced an infusion of $80 million to increase production capacity and marketing. What's your message to them?
You know, what they have actually done is they have just shown that they really don't care about Zambians. Because when you increase the production, it means you triple the effects of alcohol. When they increase by 80 million, they are not increasing the bottles by 2 or 3. No. Actually, the bottles are now being multiplied into millions and millions of bottles, meaning more drunkards on the market, more accidents, more GBV, more HIV cases, more of everything that we face because of alcohol. So all that was just a response to try and mask the effects of alcohol. But people, you know, Zambians are clever. They are able to see past all that. And they said, no, why? Why now? Why are you increasing all this? So all this which is being done, the Zambians already know, and we are so happy. You know, just today, I received a message. There is this gentleman who just called me. He said, Doc, I was a critic of you, but now I agree. I said, why? He said, I'm passing a club right now. I've seen 2 young girls kissing an old man, and these are drunk. And how can HIV end like this? Those are old people who are now sleeping with young children. So he said, what if it is my daughter? So when he said that, then I realized, okay, so people are just waiting until they see those problems. That's when they agree. And it's a good thing. So most of the Zambians have seen, and whatever Zambia Breweries is doing, it's just futile. Otherwise, they already know the effects of alcohol.
There's a comment by, I think, Marina21. She says, we need someone who drinks on the panel to balance it out. Marina, I can guarantee you that we are going to look for somebody who drinks and who is in support of alcohol. Tonight is Dr. Sampa's night. Doc, thank you so much. For those that are just joining us, we are talking to Dr. Brian Chota Sampa regarding his ban alcohol campaign. Thank you for joining us wherever you're watching us from. We want to let you know that we appreciate you so much and we appreciate your support. Doc, let's change gears. I know business owners are up in arms with you. Bar owners, lodge owners, resort owners, you name it. Very soon, you're going to be the most wanted man in Zambia. So, share with us some of the feedback. I want to point out here, negative feedback that you have received from anonymous sources. Has anybody called you anonymously and shouted at you and called you all kinds of names? Share with us.
So far, I've received, I think I've just received about 3 messages. The first one was an anonymous message just insulting me. The other one was threatening me. Another one were just insults. But, you know, it's very funny. Even when people criticize on social media, when they meet me in the road, they are agreeing and saying, Doc, what you are saying is the truth. And today I met some gentlemen in town. I was even worried. I thought maybe they will be so upset and they may beat me up. They said, you are the one for banning alcohol. Then they came and said, Doc, what is happening in Kanyama is bad. And that was around 10 hours. They said the bars open as early as 6 hours and there are brothels there. And people are dying. Marriages are broken. And people are agreeing. You know, everything that we are doing, you can see that people are agreeing. Even those who drink, they are saying maybe without alcohol, we can stop. Because others have been trying to stop for years. But whenever they try to stop, they still relapse.
Right.
So in terms of the negativity, I think they are just countable. But I've received more of the positives. And especially the church, they have really been supportive. And the female organizations. Because there's an organization which is known as the City Mothers Association of Zambia. It is a very strong organization. Then they are saying, excuse me, if you stop, Doc, we are going to continue. And if you want to stop, we shall force you. Because as we know what we've gone through in our homes with our husbands, and they are saying they have also seen how their children have dropped out of university. Those are people who are even giving actually testimonies.
Right.
You know, they are giving testimonies every day about how children have dropped out of the University of Zambia, Copperbelt University, after parents have spent a lot of money on them. So the repercussions that come from alcohol are more than even what we can measure.
Right. Okay, great. I mean, I definitely agree with you. So let's circle back to the timeline of November. I think this is my opinion. To make this campaign more effective, I think remove the November deadline to ban alcohol, because we know that won't happen, Doc, right? And I don't mean to pour scorn on your campaign. I'm for the campaign, right? But in order to make it more effective, I think you still need more time to push this agenda, right? Because banning alcohol by November means Zambian Brewery is shutting down as early as tomorrow. Why? Because there's still alcohol in circulation, manufactured today, manufactured yesterday, right? There's still other illicit brews being manufactured today, right? So don't you think that you need a time frame to spearhead this campaign and then say, hey, by November next year, we want alcohol banned in that, because it's a process. You understand that, Doc? It's a process. And lastly, my fear for the timeline you've set for November is that if it doesn't happen, a lot of your campaigners and yourself will lose steam. This is a noble campaign. Get me right. This is a noble campaign, but you're going to lose steam if by November there's no action, Doc.
Well, when I said by November, that's the day on 30th November. It will be a Wednesday. That's the day we are taking the petition to the president.
Okay.
So when we take that petition, now we may need to do more to pressure so that a law or an SI or something is done so that alcohol is banned in our country. We are not saying by 30th, then it is already done.
Okay.
But by 30th, we are supposed to now take the petition to the head of state.
Okay.
So, and we know it's going to happen because one, we do understand that yes, the president may not come out, but by virtue of him being a sober man, there is a reason why he has maintained his sobriety. If he knew that alcohol was good, he would have been drinking. But the fact that he's a sober man, we know that yes, what we think and what we understand alcohol to be is what he also understands. By the way, he's an elder, and SDAs also don't support alcohol. So it's a very good thing, and it's a good timing actually. And we are so lucky that we have such, and we are doing this at this particular time. So we are optimistic, and we need to understand one aspect here that because it's the Zambian people who are going to demand, the president will definitely answer.
Okay, so November petition is delivered. How much time after that are you expecting results?
Well, once we deliver some of the other details, we are going to give along the way. But now the deadline which we've just given out to the public is the 30th. But what follows thereafter, we don't want to preempt.
Okay. You probably might not want to answer my next question. What if the government does not respond in the affirmative? They don't ban alcohol.
That question will mean that we haven't done enough work between now and November. But from where we are standing, if I showed you my phone today and how many people we have who are on our side, you'll be shocked. We have people even from districts which are very far and remote. And we will soon start going around to visit those people to get those petitions. Our target is to ensure that we get as many people as possible. And the good thing is, it's the people who haven't even been to school who are actually the majority in Zambia. Because in Zambia, we just have about 15% of the people who are educated. And then the majority of those who are not educated, they actually understand alcohol very well. And they also understand it from the cultural point of view and other things that are involved. So it makes it very easy for them. When you talk to them, actually, they are agreeing faster than the people who are educated. Because, with education comes a lot of exposure. And sometimes the exposure is bad exposure. So people end up even inheriting bad habits. But for those people who've lived in those villages and all that, they don't entertain this kind of behavior, and they are easy to understand. So for them, they have said no. And it is the only campaign right now running, which is cutting across all party lines. Nothing like church, nothing like any party, nothing. We've got all people. They are just Zambians. And that's how we are running this campaign.
Great. Zambia has what is called the 11th province, which is the diasporians. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you thought about including diasporians, signing the petition?
For sure. As of yesterday, we were approached by some group from, actually the man is in Canada. He said he officially joined our group, and he said he will be coming next month specifically for the movement, and he wants to be part of it because he has seen what alcohol has done to some of his family members and the people he knows. So I think everyone is welcome to join the movement, and we are actually pleased that we are pleased to inform the nation and the diaspora that as long as you are a Zambian, wherever you are welcome to make Zambia a better place. We can make Zambia great once more. Most of the politicians, the reason why they have failed to perform has been because of alcohol. Now we have a sober president. Let's learn from this sober president and let's translate. This may be the only chance we have to change things.
No, I want to disagree with you on that one. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda was a sober president, I would like to believe late President Mwanawasa was a sober president. And yes, we have President HH, who is a sober president. But the alcohol intake, Doc, has never ceased. So, which leads me to this question. Why do you think alcohol is being abused by, our people, by the youth? Is it lack of economic activity, lack of jobs? Is it frustrations, Doc? Why? Because that question is very, very important, right? As we strive to ban alcohol, we have to understand the root cause or the problem that brings about, abuse and misuse.
Well, we need to understand one thing here. For us, abuse does not exist. The reason is simple. At what stage do you say this is now abuse? Mm-hmm. There is no stage. It's arbitrary. Because one person can take 10 bottles and say, I'm moderating, because the liver is used and they're not going to get as drunk. Another person can just take 2, and after taking 2, they are flat out. They can't even walk. So it's arbitrary. There is nothing like abuse. It is just wrong to take alcohol, because in whatever form you take it, and in whatever content or amount, the thing that comes out is getting drunk. So what is causing people to do all this? There is no justification. One of the reasons is alcohol has been advertised widely in our country. We grew up, you are watching news with your parents, and then just there, while watching news, a commercial break comes, there are these happy people taking alcohol. So alcohol has been widely accepted because of the adverts. You go on the media, it's adverts. You pass through town, you find a lot of adverts, billboards. And all those people, they don't even use drunkards. They're just using sober people who are pretending to be happy. So it's the kind of advertisement which has been done in the past, which has caused alcohol to be widely accepted, which is wrong, because they should also be bringing out the issues that come with alcohol. That way, it would have been better for people to make informed decisions than to be lying to people that alcohol only brings happiness when it has got all these bad side effects and nobody talks about them. So that's one reason. We can take a leaf from France. In France, they do make alcohol, but they don't advertise it. They don't even allow to advertise. So, those measures, if they were there in Zambia, early enough, we couldn't have seen things being the way they are. But since we are already here, the only way we can do this, if it is in medicine now, this is where we say, okay, it's now just about excision technique. You just need to cut that cancer out, and then you can now think about other things which you can do later.
Okay, great. So again, let's talk about you submitting the petition in November. Are you going to continue on this campaign, or you're going to sit back and wait for a response from government?
No. We are not going to stop. By the way, after submission, that's when the real job will start, because we need to pressure government to ensure that a law is passed. If it will mean a statutory instrument, let it be passed. But we need to ensure that anything that has to do with alcohol has to be dealt away with. And we don't want to deal with alcohol again. And we will be monitoring, we will even be taking statistics so that we can prove to the government when they ban alcohol, they will be able to see themselves the improvement in the productivity, in the reduction in the cases of crime, diseases, and all these other things which are involved because of which come about as a result of alcohol. We are going to take keen interest in the effects, just like we did some research. We looked at the prohibition which happened in the United States. That was in 1920 to 1933 when it was abolished. There is a very good report which shows how crime reduced by more than 80%. And then other cases like homicides reduced more than 53%. So there was enough reduction in most of the adverse effects because of alcohol. Of course, it had its own downside, but there were more advantages than disadvantages.
Great. Just so you should know, Doc, it's a noble campaign. If you need a platform to further this message, you're very welcome. We appreciate you, being here with us. So you talked about running this campaign without any funding, right? And for you to go and collect and analyze the data that is out there to support your campaign, you're obviously going to need funds. Do you at any point plan on saying, hey, we need funding for this noble cause?
For us, what we are trying to avoid is once we start soliciting for funding, there is nothing that comes for free in this world. There will always be conditions. And for us, if somebody intends to help us in any way, they are free to help us. But we are not going to go around asking, because what we want is just us as the people with one common goal of ending the alcohol in our country, coming together. Wherever there is need for anything, we just believe in working as a team. Wherever there is will, there is always a way. And we've shown it. Some people were thinking it was impossible to organize people throughout the country, but we've managed to organize everyone just using a cell phone and just a little bit of bundles. And we've been able to do so. So wherever we can go now, we've got our people without even using finances, because it's a noble cause and people have understood that, yes, there is nothing ill intended by this movement. So we actually do appreciate those people who may want to help us, but we just want to be careful and to be sure that whoever wants to help, let them help with only one goal of trying to ban alcohol, not to come in with their new intentions of doing different things.
Okay, so I'm going to be bringing on some of my people to ask you questions, but let me ask you this though. There's probably so many viewers right now, and those that will watch the pre-recorded version of this interview, that don't know where to go to sign that petition. Can you share that information? How can somebody come and sign that petition and join you in this campaign?
So to start with, we are opening our secretariat very soon. It will be near Kalingalinga Clinic, where people will be allowed to go and sign either from the secretariat for those who are in Lusaka, and for those who are outside Lusaka, our district coordinators will come in handy. We are about to print out the actual petition so that people can start signing. So we are going to communicate through all the media outlets where people will get from specific districts. We are going to find points where people will be able to go and sign those petitions so that they will be readily available and near the people as convenient as possible.
Doc, we are living in a technology age. That's why you needed funding, because you could have developed a simple internet platform where people could submit their names to. Getting people to go physically to offices, don't you think again that is a detriment to them?
I do appreciate the technology era we are in, but remember, we are living in Zambia. The reality in our country is that in Zambia, we just have less than 2 million people who are using social media. So if those are the only people who are on social media, how about the more than 16 million people who are not on social media? So for us to cover more people, actually, we'll cover more people physically than the way we can do it on phone. Very few people have got smartphones, later on having bundles which they can use to use those smartphones. So we understand the geography of where we are, and we do know that even here in Lusaka, it's not everyone who is having a smartphone.
Okay, so your campaign is in rural areas as well?
Yes, that's why in rural areas we've been using radios. We've been appearing on community radio stations, giving sensitizations, and we are so happy that these community radio stations have been able to give us free airtime, and they are not even demanding anything, because they also know that it's very important, and they have been so supportive. So the media has been on our side on this one, and we wouldn't have reached anywhere without the media.
Great. Awesome. Like I said, Doc, I can wish you all the best. This is definitely a noble campaign. It's a tall order, that I can tell you. Do not get frustrated. Keep the fire burning and reach out to as many people as you can. Okay, so those that are just joining us, thank you. This is the Linda Banks Show, and we are speaking to Dr. Brian Sampa, again, who is a former president of Resident Doctors Association of Zambia. and he is currently the hashtag ban alcohol leader. At this point, I'm going to bring on Patrick. Patrick, are you available? Are you there to
Yes, I'm available,
make
but
a
without a
contribution?
picture. Yes, I am.
Okay,
but
great.
without
Yeah,
a picture.
go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kelvin. It's a good program, and Dr. Sampa, thank you so much. As Kelvin alluded, it's a noble campaign, but I would love to disagree with you on certain statistics. And Dr. Sampa, the Bible itself talks about alcohol abuse. It says wine is a mocker and beer is a brewer. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise. But then, in some verses in the Bible also talks about self-control. And you remember somewhere Jesus made wine and people got drunk and they were excited. But the point I'm trying to drive home here is your campaign is good, but banning alcohol by the 30th of November, to me, it's unrealistic. And my advice would be it would be very difficult to ban alcohol. I'll give you you mentioned something like Zambians they are not productive and alcohol kills a lot of Zambians. I'll give you statistics. In Europe, the countries that drinks a lot of alcohol, we're talking of 20, 40 million people in one country, Germany, England. Alcohol is not the biggest killer. The biggest killer is cigarettes. And governments have spent money on sensitizing the people about cigarettes, increasing the alcohol. But what these countries have done, they know there are long-term effects of alcohol. So what they've done is they've used taxes to increase alcohol and cigarettes, and then in turn they use that money to educate the people, to sensitize the people. Even in Zambia, the other information I wanted to tell you is more Zambians drink than what you know. I think Zambians drink because there's nothing else to do in Zambia. There's no activity to do.
Right, Patrick.
I discovered that Zambians drink when I travel abroad. I don't drink. And I would be in a place where there are 100 Zambians and I'm the only one who is not drinking. So which means majority of Zambians drink. But what is bad to me is abuse. And I would love you to spend more of your campaign on the abuse side. Go to the government and say, increase the taxes so that money that you're going to excess tax, I can use it in my campaign to sensitize people about the abuse of alcohol. The other problem why people die so quickly because of alcohol in Zambia.
Patrick, let's give
let me just wrap it up. Let me just wrap it up, Kelvin. It's because people drink without having proper diet. You cannot just be drinking alcohol without eating properly. So these are some of the things you need to start educating people. And then you have to look at the cost and benefit of alcohol. Alcohol is a multi-billion industry. It employs people. It employs even people you know. So if you ban alcohol in November, you know how much GDP is attributed to alcohol production in Zambia. So you have to look at all those issues. But I support your campaign, but I would rather you go into looking at abuse. You go into sensitizing people about the effects of alcohol, and also raise taxes, spend money, help people who cannot control themselves. That's the only way you can do it. It's like cigarettes. You cannot stop the selling of cigarettes. Thank you, Kelvin.
Okay.
So, Doc, sorry, before you respond, but Patrick and Simpilo, could you kindly mute if you're not speaking? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you. Are you able to get me?
Yes, but can you mute your microphone first? I would like Dr. Sampa to respond. Doc, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
So the first point he mentioned was about the Bible. that the Bible is very clear. It mentions alcohol and how alcohol can be taken, and even said Jesus made alcohol. Now we need to remember that the first mention of alcohol in the Bible was in the time of Noah, when Noah drank, and we all know the story what happened. Noah did wrong things because of alcohol when he was drunk. The second aspect is when Jesus made alcohol, when Jesus made wine, the Bible didn't say he made alcohol. You know, there are different types of wine. We don't know whether it was non-alcoholic wine. In fact, most of the time when you talk about Jesus and wine and bread, they talk about unfermented wine. They also talk about unfermented bread to signify purity in the body of Jesus Christ. Now, I don't want to dwell much on the spiritual aspect of the Bible. When we come to the statistics, I think I need to just correct my brother here that look, when you are among people who drink, you are in the club, automatically you are going to find a lot of people who are drinking there. So that doesn't mean it's a representative of the entire community. In our country, the true picture is what even Kelvin said, that no, we've got 21.8% of the people who drink. Other statistics say the maximum could be 24.8. So still, we haven't even reached 30% of the population. So it's wrong to think that the majority of Zambians drink. The simple example I'll give you. On Thursday, I was invited for a beauty pageant where there were 10 girls. I did a survey because I went there to teach about alcohol. In my survey, I asked the 10, about 4 of them, they mentioned that they had stopped drinking, but they had taken alcohol before. 2 of them were still taking alcohol from 10. When I asked their background, what I found was that among all these, those ones who were drinking, they were coming from backgrounds where parents were also drinking alcohol. But these who were not drinking, they didn't have any history. And they said the reason they were not drinking is because they couldn't be allowed at home. And at home, there was nobody who was drinking. And that is where now we come in. If there is no alcohol in our country, it means that we are not going to destroy our future generations by making alcohol a habit right now. That aside, he mentioned the economic benefits. I like to give people who talk about economic benefits just one simple example. The first example I'll give is an armed robber. When an armed robber goes to the bank to steal, the armed robber, make no mistake, that is not a very bad person to everyone. That armed robber will be a bad person to the bank. But when he goes home with that money, he's going to use the same money to educate his children. He will use the same money to pay his bills. And the people at home will be celebrating that God loves us so much, our Father provides. But that is an armed robber. So there will always be somebody benefiting. And talking about how big the industry of alcohol is, we can't even talk about how big it is. Let's just give a practical example of Pablo Escobar of Colombia. Pablo Escobar was the biggest philanthropist in his time. In fact, he built schools, he built hospitals, he sent people to school. He had even put the entire police force on payroll and the policymakers. And even when they wanted to arrest Pablo, the community used to rise up because he was feeding them. And they even had to allow him to make his own prison. But all that money was being gotten, from illegal deals of cocaine. And cocaine was bringing more problems in the United States of America. The United States of America had to make a decision to say, no, we can't continue mopping while the tap is open. They needed to close the tap. What did they do? They had to take out Pablo Escobar. Did they think about the few people who were benefiting from him? The answer is no. Where is Colombia now? Was Colombia better with Pablo Escobar, or was it better after Pablo Escobar? The answer is simple. Crime was high during Pablo Escobar. In fact, whilst he was providing that money, again, that same money was just going back to solve the crimes he was creating and the problems he was creating using the cocaine. The same thing which is happening with, the breweries companies. They are creating more problems than the money which they are giving the government. The government has to spend surplus money to solve the problems which are coming from the alcohol industry. Meanwhile, they are giving them less money. So there is nothing really good which is coming out of this.
Doc, thank you for that. Before I bring on Simpilo, and just for clarity, we have about 20 minutes to the end of the show. So before I bring in Simpilo, I'm very interested in what one of our viewers has said. Chichi says, I would personally want the campaign to be about educating people of the dangers of overindulgence rather than, I'm adding this, rather than a complete ban.
Well, we appreciate that thought. However, for us to arrive at the banning of alcohol, we had already analyzed the impact of that education. Is there anybody who has never had the education that no, we are not supposed to drink a lot of alcohol? Everybody has had that education, but it's because it's impractical. It's impractical in the sense that you can't follow someone when they are drinking and tell them you've taken 2, so now I'm taking the others. You can't continue taking alcohol. So the only practical way is to take away alcohol from those people. Otherwise, expecting a drunk person to make a sober decision is impossible. Somebody can make a sober decision, but once they get drunk, they are going to make drunk decisions.
Jones loves your responses. He's sending you a rose flower. He says his answers are making a lot of sense and are so lovely. Kudos on that, Doc. Let me bring in Simpilo. Simpilo, are you ready to ask Dr. Sampa your question?
Yes, I'm very ready.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sampa, for joining us today. And thank you so much, the viewers around the world that are watching us. My question is on sustainable development goals, on sustainable consumption. And I'm sure you are aware that it's part of the agenda for 2030, United Nations agenda for 2030, because the campaign you are doing, Doc, is a very good issue of banning alcohol, but we cannot just go there direct, because the pyramid of putting something is starting from the base. So the base is so wide where we can do more of educating the people and bringing up the awareness, the campaign. Then as we go to the apex of the pyramid and where we are going to put up the ban, so the total ban is on the apex. At the base of the pyramid is the awareness. So I was thinking that we move into phase of like an academic phase, certificate, diploma, degree, master's, PhD. So we need to put awareness at the base of certificate there, down there. Then as we go up, ban is on the apex of the PhD level. So even in this campaign, if you can put that, then you are going to achieve, so that we bring a lot of stakeholders on board first by taking the awareness as we are pushing for a ban by the president. So my question is, how are you putting in place in relationship to a sustainable development goal on sustainable consumption on this campaign?
Okay. So that is very good.
Go ahead, Doc.
That's a very good question. Now, when you talk about sustainable consumption, for us, we deal with sustainable development goal number 3, which is our universal health coverage. Under universal health coverage, we are talking about reduction by 2030, the non-communicable diseases. Also, there should be a reduction to 0 new HIV infections by 2030. So when we combine that with alcohol, we find that alcohol is actually doing the opposite of what we want to achieve by 2030. So for us, that takes precedence, because anything that deals with health, for us, that takes precedence. And talking about the pyramid and the stakeholders, we need to realize one thing, that for us, our stakeholders are Zambians. So we don't have specific organizations to meet. For us, our target is the president, and the stakeholders are Zambian people. The Zambian people are the owners of the constitution. The Zambian people are the ones who have affirmed in that constitution in whatever they want to do. It's the Zambian people who decide, and the president is a listening president who will listen to the Zambian people. That's why we have only one goal: educate the Zambian people before 30th. By 30th, Zambian people should have made that decision so that they inform the president on what they would have decided. And we are very optimistic that this decision is exactly what we are intending them to make, which is to ban alcohol. And we are also sure that by banning alcohol, we are not destroying anything. In fact, we are building. Because what's going to happen is that in the long run, the government is going to save more money, which they have been spending on ARVs, money they have been spending on security, money they are spending prosecuting cases and all these other crimes, to use it for other important things. And that money can even be used to diversify the economy, so that a few people who are benefiting from the beer industry or alcohol industry can now be given better things to do, which they can, work with. And one person actually gave an example that, to make alcohol, you have to get the grapes and they need to be fermented. But when you look at a bottle of alcohol, it will cost maybe, say, 5 kwacha, 10 kwacha, or 15 kwacha. But, grape juice, just a 350 mils, costs about 65 kwacha. So which one is more profitable? So those people can actually use those grapes instead of turning them into wine or other alcoholic beverages to make, just these healthy drinks, which is going to even help the people to live healthy lives.
Great. Thank you for that, Doc. Patrick, do you have another follow-up question to Dr. Sampa?
Yes, Kelvin. Yeah, I think the other thing I missed was, Dr. Sampa, how I feel is, I concur with the guy who was just talking. You cannot just start by banning alcohol in November. You start first by sensitizing the people the effects of alcohol as a doctor, and then you move to one stage, the other stage, and you cannot just ban alcohol. There are consequences, but just banning it like that. There should be stages. You should use some stages, and a lot of people will support you, but not just by, like some countries, they're saying they don't want cigarettes, by 2040. So you cannot just say now, because it takes time for people to this is abuse we are talking about. People cannot just stop overnight. It takes, for me who hasn't taken alcohol, yes, it's easy for me to laugh at people who drink. But when somebody is abused, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, it's not easy to stop. Yeah. But then you have to look at, I mentioned about wine. Wine is alcohol also. But a glass of wine, you're a doctor, you know that a glass of wine, one glass of wine, what I'm talking about here is self-control, moderation, which the Bible talks about. A glass of wine after a meal is good for your stomach. Do you know that?
But Patrick,
thank you.
Sorry,
Doc, sorry. That one, I would want you to look up the new research. Just Google, and if you can go on Lancet, just go on latest research concerning alcohol. And if you can write no amount of alcohol is safe for human consumption, you will see the latest research. Even that glass of wine now has been debunked that it's actually dangerous for your health. It's only 2 teaspoons which are healthy for you to take.
Okay, great. But Patrick, sorry, in the interest of time, we only have close to like 12 minutes. But I think, Doc, you get the common theme for those that, kind of like in the middle. They're not saying don't ban alcohol. What they are saying is the timeline is too aggressive. They are saying the methodology must be that you engage, you educate people against the bad effects of alcohol. With time, then you can move towards a total ban, because a total ban, and I know people have misunderstood you, thinking that you want alcohol to be banned by November, which is why I asked you clarification questions. And you did clarify that you're submitting the petition November 30th, okay? And then you don't know how long the president will take, if he's going to take it up, if an SI will be signed and things like that. But I think the major theme is let's start educating first. And then as we educate, people will probably start reducing on intake or completely stop the intake of alcohol. Is that a positive message? Is that positive feedback from the people that have contributed on this show?
So, we do appreciate such contributions, but we still maintain our stance. Remember that before we started this, it's not like we had not considered all that. It's impractical to say we are going to teach people to stop taking alcohol because nobody monitors those people. You can talk. No matter how much you talk, you're not going to be with those people. Why didn't we do the same when there was COVID-19 outbreak in Zambia, when the government had to close all the borders and they had to tell people, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. They closed the bars and nightclubs. Why didn't we just tell people to practice the 5 golden rules? Why didn't we just do that? Because we know it's not enough. There are times
so has alcohol reached pandemic levels?
Yes, actually, where we are now, it's an emergency. It's a national emergency, the alcohol issue. So this requires aggressive measures, the same way it was with COVID. Because if we take it lightly, trust me, nobody will be happy to raise a child within our country.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand the whole gist of comparing, the measures to COVID, but the way COVID was transmitted was more of an emergency. You would say that, right? I mean, I do agree the effects in alcohol, but I think like Simpilo suggested, let's educate, engage, and then create a policy, or if it's a law, banning alcohol via a law in Zambia. I think I would agree. I would agree with that, Doc.
You know what we want to do actually is that after we've submitted that, once alcohol is banned in Zambia, we want to make sure that in the curriculum, in the schools, we have to continue teaching about why alcohol had to be banned and why it shouldn't be taken by anybody. And we want to make sure that in all the universities and colleges, all these things are taught. There should be a way in which our curriculum should support alcohol being taught in schools, that it's a bad thing, and there should be practical examples with testimonies, with statistics. The same way the Americans have kept the statistics of the prohibition and how it affected them or how it helped them, so that people can be able to make informed decisions in future. In an event where somebody in future may decide to revert back to allowing people to drink alcohol, the entire country would have known what alcohol is and let them make that informed decision. However, when you look at what we have now, from the time of KK already recognized it as an emergency. He even threatened to resign. In fact, one time when he resigned, he cited it as one of the reasons. And then when you look at all those things, that is in the 70s. Now we are in 2022. Who hasn't talked about alcohol? If we listened to the speech by the president, which he gave in parliament that time about the moral standing of the country, he complained about alcohol. Even the previous president complained about alcohol. Mwanawasa also gave a similar one. They all complain about alcohol. So what more do we need as the best sensitization?
Yeah, politicians will complain all they want, but when they sit in their offices, they look at the numbers coming in through alcohol sales, they'll say lip service. Politicians are the wrong people to approach for such a doc. So real quick, Simpilo, do you have words of encouragement to Dr. Sampa? Please, under 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. The word of encouragement I can give you, Doc. Be strong in this campaign. You are on the right track, but you need also to consider advice from other stakeholders, like on this forum, what people have suggested, that you go on education aspect before you go into a very stiff measure that will come in place because of the economic value that also alcohol bring into the country. Remember, Zambia is not a developed country. Zambia is a developing country, so we are still at a base. So the little money that you are going to get from foreign exchange through alcohol, other things, within internal economy. So it's also on the part of where the country can still benefit. So you need to look all those issues, the legal aspect, and that way, when you understand it, means that 30th November is too early for me on my side, but at least it's a long journey which can be materialized when we take up proper channels. So I'm very happy that for your initiative, and I would like also to be part of your initiative. So to help increase this campaign, so that a lot of people, especially in rural areas where we have serious abuse of alcohol, junta, kajirijiri, kachasu, and all other form of alcohol, where you need to, especially among the youth, we need to produce youth that are productive so that they start engaging into CDF project for the government and academic issues and moving away from alcohol. So I think education will provide a better platform for us to really to get down to the root of the problem. Then even as we focus to a bigger picture of banning it at a later stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Simpilo. Your response, Doc?
Yeah, so I appreciate so much, and please, you are welcome to join the movement. We need everyone on board because this is not a simple thing. There are a lot of people who are trying to fight it, but most of the people understand, and I do appreciate that support. The only thing I would also want to say is that, yes, we've taken into consideration what you've said. However, we still maintain our stance that the ultimate goal is just to ban, because what we've done so far, just that work alone, has touched all the corners of Zambia. So in terms of sensitization, I think we are doing fine. A lot of people know. So now it's just about acting.
Okay. Thank you for that, Dr. Sampa. So the platform is yours, sir. What is your message to Zambians at large?
So the only thing I'll tell the Zambians is that they shouldn't despair. They should know that, very soon, once we are done with what we are doing, our country will be a better place. We need to leave a country in safe hands. Even years after we are dead, we should be proud that we contributed to the betterment of our country. Where we are going, we are headed for doom if we continue this way. We can't be raising our children in such an environment like this one. It's a toxic environment. It's a bad environment. And it's up to us to become responsible and do the right thing now. I urge everyone to join the movement. This movement is not for me. It's a movement for the whole country, and it's a movement for each and every well-meaning Zambian who wants this country to move forward. So you're all welcome. You can join. You can go on our Facebook page, and we are always there giving direction. You can join our WhatsApp group and our Telegram group. Our links are on FB. You will be there, and we are going to interact with you. We give you positions, and we tell you what to do so that you contribute to this history in the making.
Great, thank you. So, viewers, that was Dr. Brian Sampa. Again, he's a former president of the Resident Doctors Association of Zambia. He is the hashtag ban alcohol leader, running a campaign to outrightly ban alcohol in Zambia. Dr. Sampa, I want to thank you sincerely for coming on the show. I am sure this discussion does not start and end here. We will obviously come back to you and bring you on the show to have more, understanding of where your campaign is, and hopefully some of the milestones you have set for this campaign will be achieved. We want to let you know that we partner with people like yourself in disseminating information that is very, very cardinal and important for our people. This has been the Linda Banks Show. My name is Kelvin Chanda-Chimba. For the viewers, thank you so much for sticking with us. Until next time, you have a good evening. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you so much.